Yo, yo. Hi guys. I hope all of you are doing well. So I welcome you all to yet another video in this Databricks playlist. And in this particular video, we are going to talk about how we can integrate version control to our pipeline. So in the previous video, we have already created a Lakeflow Spark declarative pipeline where we utilized multiple things that we have learned till now, like how we can integrate and how we can basically build an end-to-end ETL pipeline using the change data capture and Spark Lakeflow Spark declarative pipeline, right? And now in this particular video itself, what we will be doing is that we will be adding that particular pipeline to a, not exactly that pipeline, basically we will be adding a pipeline, a separate pipeline to a version control. So version control like Git or GitHub. Okay. So in this particular playlist, we have already talked about Spark from the very basics till the advanced concept of Spark. Like we have covered topics like how you can add a new column, how you can rename a new column, how we can do group by and join operations, how we can handle null values, and we have covered some documentation part also where we have learned about what is the difference between a procedural and a declarative programming language, how we can deal with batch data and streaming data, right? And we have also built an end-to-end ETL pipeline using Lakeflow declarative pipeline, change data capture, and we have implemented the slowly changing dimensions in that particular video also. We have also learned about how we can orchestrate a pipeline to modify it into a job. So if you are someone who is trying to learn Spark from the very basics, or someone who just wants to understand the advanced concept of Databricks and Spark, this particular playlist can be very helpful for you all. So with that said, let's get started with this video and let's get straight into the system. So here you can see that we can create a source control pipeline. So the Lakeflow pipeline editor is in public preview, right? So using the Lakeflow pipeline editor itself, in the previous video, we have created our ETL pipeline. So in Databricks, you can source control a pipeline and all the code associated with it. So if you are creating a pipeline, obviously we will be writing some code in that particular pipeline to do the like right from reading to doing the transformation till dumping the data and whatnot, whatever we will be doing. So we will be writing some code to like some code that will be associated to that particular pipeline. And using the source control, we can track the change in code. By source controlling all files associated with your pipeline, changes to your transformation code, exploration code, and pipeline configuration are all versioned in Git and can be tested in development and confidently deployed to production. Okay. So what is the benefit of adding our pipeline to a version control? So if we will be adding our pipeline to a version control system, something like Git, and there are many more version systems like Mercury and all, but mostly around 80 to 85% of the developers go ahead with Git only. Okay. So if you are adding our pipeline to a version control system, something like Git, so we will be able to track any code changes that is made in our transformation, in our maybe the exploration file, or even in the pipeline configuration, right? All the things will be tracked and managed using Git only. The second benefit that we will get is we can test our code in the development phase or maybe on the development branch, and then we can deploy that particular code to the production branch. Okay. Now, a source control pipeline offers the following advantages. The very first advantage is traceability, that it capture everything or every change in Git history. Okay. Even if we add a single space or we remove a single space, right? Whether we rename a file, if we move a file from one folder to another folder, each and every change will be tracked in the Git environment wherever maybe in a separate in a single folder, or in whichever directory the Git is initialized. Basically, in that folder, any kind of change, if it is made, it will be tracked by Git. Then testing. So validate pipeline changes in a development workspace before promoting it to a shared production workspace. Every developer has its own development pipeline on their own code branch in a Git folder in their own schema. Okay. So what this particular thing means is, so usually what happens on Git, that we have why this let me close my Epic Pen and reopen it. Okay. So if I talk about Git, what usually happens is that we have our main branch, okay, that is in production. Okay, so mostly it's not mandatory, but mostly we use the main branch for production. Then we can create separate branch for maybe separate developers that we are having. So we can create this branch 1 for maybe our developer 1. We can create this branch 2 for our developer 2, and we can create, let's suppose, this branch 3 for our developer number 3. Now what will happen is, let's suppose this developer 3 was allocated some task, and he has completed his task, and he will push this particular code to his branch first. Okay, he will not directly push the code to the main branch, because if he directly pushes the code to main branch, and if there is any kind of, let's say, security issue with the code, any kind of bug is there in that particular code, so it will it will block the production, right? The system will basically go down in that particular case, right? So what will happen, this developer 3, it will push his code to the allocated branch that he is working on. Then there will be a senior, right, who is managing this particular project basically, right? What he will do is, he will be informed by developer 3 that, okay sir, I have done the task, and now you can review my code. So this process is basically called as code review. Okay, code review. So this senior person, he will be reviewing the code, he will be testing basically each and everything, right? He will be checking the functions, maybe the syntax, if he is following the code, the process, the proper code alignment or not, and each and everything he will be checking. Okay, if there is any kind of issue, he will let the developer know that, okay, these are the changes that you need to make, right? And once those changes are made, then developer 3 will again push the code to the branch, and this process can iterate till this senior person is satisfied. Once this senior person is satisfied and gives a green flag, what will happen is, he will merge this branch 3 to the main branch. Okay, so there are much more phases also, that he will first of all maybe merge it to the UAT branch. There will be a kind of testing that will be done on the UAT, and then after testing it will be merged onto the main branch. But let's not go into that much complexity, right? Just to understand the branching concept, I am letting you this particular concept know. Okay, so this branch 3 will be merged to the main branch. So this process is known as merging. Okay, so it will be merged. And now whatever changes this developer 3 has made, it will be now a part of the production code. Okay, so this is how branching is important. Similarly, what developer 2 will do, that he will push his code to his associate allocated branch. Then once there is a green flag from the senior guy that, okay, you can push the code to the production, then he will be pushing the code to the main branch. And after all those considerations, it will be merged. Okay, so this is how it works. So this is how testing can be done. Then talking about collaboration. So when individual development and testing is finished, code changes are pushed to the main production pipeline. That's exactly what I told right now. Then talking about governance. So align the enterprise CI/CD and development standards. Okay. So deployment standards. Okay. So CI/CD stands for continuous integration and continuous deployment. So let's not talk too much about CI/CD, right? It's not exactly the job of a data engineer to add these CI/CD pipelines. So let's not worry too much about it. Okay. Now Databricks allows for pipelines and their source files to be source controlled together using Databricks asset bundles. Okay. With bundles, pipeline configuration is source controlled in the form of a YAML configuration file along with Python or SQL source files of a pipeline. One bundle might be one or many pipelines as well as other resource types such as jobs. Okay. So Databricks allows pipeline and other source files to be bundled together basically, right? Or maybe they can be controlled together in one particular folder. Bundle will be basically a kind of folder itself. Okay. So like all the sources, each and everything, right from code files to the configuration files and everything, we can put it in one bundle or maybe one folder, right, using the Databricks asset bundles. So these folders will have the configuration of the source control in a form of YAML configuration, right, along with the Python and SQL source control files for the pipeline. Okay, there can be more than one pipeline in one bundle. Okay, as well as other resource types such as jobs. Okay, there can also be things like job that can be traced by our source control management system, that is Git. So this page shows how to set up a source control pipeline using Databricks asset bundles. For more information about bundles, you can see this particular link. Now to create the requirement or to basically create a source control pipeline, you must have a Git folder created in your workspace and configured. A Git folder allows individual users to author and test changes before committing them to a Git repository. Then a Lakeflow pipeline editor enabled. The UI described in this tutorial is only available in this editor experience. Okay. So create a new pipeline in a bundle. So first of all, what we will do is to create a new source control pipeline. Go to the workspace, go to plus and ETL pipeline. So we will click here and we will go to the ETL pipeline section. Cool. Now select setup as source controlled project, right? So till now what we have been doing is we have been choosing this particular thing, start with an empty file. But now because we want to do a kind of source control, so we will set up our project as a source control project. Here I can rename the pipeline as, let's suppose, source control pipeline English. Okay, and we will be keeping the directory and all those things similar. And here I can set up as source control project. And here I can either create a new project or I can start from an existing project. Okay, so what I will do here is I will click on the folders. So here you will see there is something like, if I hover over it, you can see this is a Git folder. This is also a Git folder, right? So there are multiple Git folders that are present. So first of all, what we will have to do is we will have to create a Git folder. So for doing that, what we will do is we will come here. Okay. So there is a separate process given in this particular documentation. But earlier when I tried to did this particular thing, unfortunately it did not work for me. Okay. So I will be following a little bit different process. So I will go to my repositories. Okay. Then I will create a new repository. And then I can rename my repository as, let's suppose, source control pipeline English, let's suppose. Okay, I will create this repository. I will come down and I will click on create repository. So now it's done. I will copy this particular repository link and I will come back here, right? And I will click on this folder, right? And I will click on this create folder icon. And no, I don't have to come here. I will do what? Instead of this, I will open my workspace. Okay, after opening my workspace, I will be clicking here and I will click on Git folder. Okay, here I will paste my URL. So once I paste my URL, Git provider. So there are multiple providers or multiple platforms, I would say, that gives us uh, the hosted service of Git, right? So you can see right here we have GitHub Enterprise Server, we have Bitbucket Cloud, we have Bitbucket Server, GitLab Enterprise, Azure DevOps, AWS Code Commit, and multiple more services. Here the folder name it has automatically picked as the repository name that we have created on our GitHub platform. Okay, so Git provider we have already done. Now I can click on this create Git folder. So here it will say failed to load Git folder. I have to click on OK. But when I go to my workspace, right, and if I click on this, okay, home workspace, and if I go to users, and if I click on this users, I will see that the folder Git folder has been created. Source control pipeline English has been created, right? And now if I want to open this particular Git folder, so I can just click on this thing, or what I will do is that I will go back here, right? My folder is now created. So I will come back here. I will click on this folder thing and I will select my folder as source control pipeline and I will click on select. Once the folder has been selected, so you can't select any normal folder. If I want to select, let's suppose this pipeline folder, right? And let's say utilities folder. If I try to select, okay, it has been selected. Okay, maybe, right? But here what I did is I would like to select this particular source control folder, and then I will click on next, and then I will click on next again. So I can give my project name. So again, source control. So source control, version control, both are same thing. So need not worry too much about it. Okay. So source control project. Okay, I guess the project name should be in lower. Source control pipeline. Okay. Then the default catalog should be workspace. So I am selected workspace. Here I am selecting the personal schema for working this. So I have selected yes. And initial project language is Python itself. And I will click on create and deploy. So it will take a few minutes to deploy the infrastructure. Okay, so now you can see a source controlled, I would say a pipeline has been created here, right? You can see here this git thing, right? And you can see this exploration folder, transformation folders, and there are a few pipelines that are present in this transformation folder also, right? So it is doing what? It is creating a table and it is reading this samples.nyc taxi trips table, and here I guess it will be doing some kind of group by operation. Okay, so here it's doing the aggregation operation of the table that we read. It will group by it using the pickup zip column, and it will uh, do a sum of fair underscore amount column. Okay, so this is done. So we have created our folder. Now explore the pipeline bundle. Next, explore the pipeline bundle that was created. So bundle, as I told you, it's basically the uh, I would say, basically the folder itself. Bundle is nothing else. It's the folder or the directory itself that will be created. So the bundle which is in the git folder contains bundle system files and a databricks.yaml file which defines variables, target workspace URLs and permissions and other settings for the bundle. The resource folder of the bundle is where definitions for resources such as pipelines etc are contained. Okay, so here we are not able to see any kind of bundles and YAML or any other file, right? If I go to this root folder, move to root folder, if I see, so I guess here we will be able to see all those files. Okay, so here we will be able to see the files. You can see this Databricks .yaml file, and you can also see what was the other file, the resources folder, right? So you can also see the resources folder that are here. So it has sample job.yaml, source control pipeline.yaml files, etc. Okay, so I can just cancel this and I can come back here. Okay, let's try to do it this way first. If we will face any error, then we will see through it. Okay, so open the resource folder, then click the pipeline editor button to view the source controlled pipeline. Okay, the sample pipeline bundle includes the following file: a sample exploration notebook, two sample files that do transformation on tables, a sample code file that contains a utility function, a job configuration YAML file that defines the job in the bundle that runs the pipeline, a pipeline configuration YAML file that defines the pipeline. Okay, and a README file with additional details about sample pipeline bundles and instructions on how to run the pipeline. Okay, so here if you will see again, if I go back here, so here you can't see anything, but here not sort, I can do this particular thing as, let's say, move to, if I try to run the pipeline here only, I guess I will get some kind of issue because I have not uh, I don't have those databricks.yaml files currently in our folder. So let's see if it runs correctly, well and good. If not, we will try to debug it. Okay, so we have got the issue. It's because we are not having our configure new root folder. Okay, so the root folder will be this one. And if I click on select, and if I select this, and if I click on save, right? So now I can see pipeline was deployed using asset bundles. Editor is redeploy on a pipeline. Redeploy bundle to connect under redeployer bundle to reconnect the pipeline to its source. Okay, let's close this and let's close this. Okay, so now you can see that we are having the resources thing, right? We have the sample job.job.yaml file here. Okay, then we have our pipeline file, pipeline.yaml file, and we also have the databricks.yaml file here with us. Okay, so use catalog, schema, and all these things. What is development? Host is this. Can manage and all those stuff. So I hope it should run fine now. Okay, and now if I try to run the pipeline from here, can I run it from here only? No, I don't think so. So let's try to run the pipeline from here. Okay, we are again having some issue. The file that workspace does not have a pi, only pi this thing, I think 5 thing. Okay. View details. Supported library type. The file at workspace.this.this dot get ignored does not. Okay, fine. This file is excluded from pipelines for configuration. It will have. So why it's not getting ignored? Let me just delete it. Configuration change is not persisted. Okay, fine, no worries. And now if I run this pipeline again, okay, it is again now showing for the YAML thing. Can't move this YAML file to trash. So I will have to do one thing is move it first of all everything to source. I can drop this folder. Okay, and talking about resources, it's fine. Okay, source, and we have a transformation. Let me do one thing. Let me run this file only. Okay, first of all, let me run this particular file individually. Again, it's saying that YAML does not have a prefix, but here it shows that the file is excluded from pipeline's source configuration, so it won't be automatically executed during runs or dry runs. Obviously, because we don't require it. So what's the issue that we are getting for running the pipeline? I click on view details. Space pipeline name is this. Register ID, fine. Time exception message is unsupported file type or library. The file at this particular path source control pipeline databricks.yaml does not have a py or SQL suffix. Only Python or SQL files are supported in pipelines. Okay. 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 So if I just do open in a new browser tab, let's suppose I open this. So now I'm doing what? I'm opening this source folder only. Okay. And let's try to. Okay, it has opened here, right? Instead of this, it should not take this Databricks YAML and py.toml file while running the pipeline. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me try to create a file as, let's suppose, test. Okay, so test.py file has been created. I will just print, let's suppose, world. Okay, and if I run this file, let's see if this file runs or not. Again, we are getting the same issue. Let's suppose if I move it to source folder, and also if I move to the source folder, let's see. Where it's clearly mentioned that this file will be executed from pipeline run. I don't know why it's running. VS Code is getting the issue. Talk about pipeline configuration. So now I configure my path to source one. Again, source, save. Close this and I close this. And let's try to run it again. Same issue. Databricks.yaml. And if I try to delete it, then it will say that you don't have the YAML file. I try to run the pipeline. It says now that dependency was failed to install. Hmm. Here. So in this particular case, do you have anything in documentation for this? This fine. Important, you must edit this file to permanently persist any configuration changes in the pipeline, including changes made through the UI. Otherwise, your changes will be overwritten when the bundle is redeployed. For example, So set a different default catalog. It matters when our code run the pipeline. You can either run individual transformation or entire source control pipeline. Okay. Yeah. So if I want to run a single file, I can run on run file. If I want to run the whole pipeline, I can click on run pipeline. This I am aware about. If you want to update the pipeline, you can click on this get icon and all those stuffs is fine. Not very sure why this pipeline is not running. Okay, if I go to exploration, sample exploration, let's start from workspace.this.this. I don't think anything exists on this particular path. If I run this, I think the same issue. Hmm. This is notebook to explore the data generated by the pipeline. In a preferred programming language, this notebook will not be executed as a part of pipeline because it's a part of exploration folder. But why we are not able to? Yeah, obviously now I'll be getting these errors. I'm totally aware about this fact. And what I can do is, okay, let me do one thing. Uh, Let me move this whole thing to trash. Okay, and to trash. And not only this, source control pipeline.etl. Cool. I want to move everything to trash. Okay, and now let me come to here. I will click on new. I will create a new ETL. Okay, and source control English. Okay, set up a new project. I will click on this. I will set up my source control.english. Okay, so let me do one thing. Let me go to workspace. Source control English. Move to trash. Come back here. Set up a new project. Source control English. Select. Okay. Next. Project name. Control. Okay. Default workspace. Yes. Python. Create and deploy. Let's try to do it again. These things can happen. That's not a very big deal. Create and deploy a bundle in the workspace. So usually, like I guess maybe the update maybe it was last updated on 10th of November. So it has been recently updated just a month ago. Then also it's having, because we just have followed the same thing, right? Click on new project, click on next, enter the following details to create an asset bundle, bundle name, initial catalog. personal schema, language, then click on create and deploy. This is what we have done. Right, so extend pipeline. I don't want to add anything right now. Space.vs17. But I don't have any schema with the name of vs17. Sorry, Vishal 17. Go to catalog, workspace. Okay, it has created a schema, no worries with that. But it does not have any data. Okay, let it be. Let me save it. The pipeline was deployed using this. Edit source.yaml file to redeploy the changes. Okay. Root folder is this. Source folder is transformation. Fine. So transformation should be the source folder. It's totally fine. And now if I come back here and if I click on this, let's suppose if I only click on this run file. I hope this time it will run fine. Okay, view details. Fail to install environment dependencies. Check the driver's outstanding log for the customer. Okay, let's try to diagnose this error. Let's use the AI. Let's see. Error indicates that pip install hyphen hyphen editable is failing for your local source directory. This usually happens if the directory does not contain a valid Python package, missing setup.py or pyproject.toml, or if there are permission issues and missing dependencies. To fix this, ensure that this particular contains a valid Python package, that package with either a setup.py or a pyproject.toml. So pyproject.toml is there. pyproject.toml file is there, but again if we go on to that particular thing, it creates an issue. So if I click on this configure pipeline and if I choose my root folder, how can I edit it? Configure. If I want to edit my root folder, where did I edit it from last time? Okay, let's go on to all files. If I open it, if I open this folder, okay, this time Databricks.file did not get created. No, it is. So source control has all the things, right? So move to root folder, source control, move. Refresh it. Okay, let me configure the new root folder as source. Select. Select. Save. And if I try to run the file, let's see. We are getting the same issue again and again. Okay, no worries. Okay, we are getting the same issue. Not very sure that why we are not able to run this pipeline. I will have to have a look. Okay, I will have to have a look that what exactly the issue is. That if you are trying to run this, it's saying even here if it's saying that this file is excluded in the pipelines source code configuration, right? It will not be automatically executed during runs or dry runs, but here for some reason it's trying to execute it. And we have already followed the documentation itself. We haven't added or removed anything by ourselves. Okay, do we have to change configure pipeline configuration.yaml? Okay, so pipeline configuration.yaml, if we check, so catalog, it's taking this workspace, schema it's taking this special and this. We include every dependency defined by pyproject.toml by defining an editable environment that points to the folder where pyproject.toml is deployed. Okay, so hyphen editable workspace.path file. So workspace.path file it's taking here. If I do one thing, if I copy relative path and here if I add this, let's say if I comment out this particular thing. Okay. Now if I turn to run the file, it is taking git ignore. It's running this git ignore file. I don't know why. Okay, no worries. What I will do is I will try to fix this particular issue in the next video. Right, I will be sharing you whatever I understand that okay, this was the issue and this is the fix to get this particular thing fixed if you are following this particular uh, documentation. Okay, let me show you one thing that how we can basically use the source control or the version control, which was the main agenda. Like running the pipeline obviously was not the main agenda of this video, but obviously I tried and I wanted that the pipeline should run, but maybe unfortunately today it's not the day. Okay, and it's not running. We are getting some issues which ideally we should not get. Okay, but no worries, there is for sure some issue, right? And I will have to fix it. I will have to look at it and fix it. So what I will do is I will show you guys how we can use GitHub basically, and how we will be attaching this pipeline to my GitHub repository that we have created. Okay, so now once, let's suppose now I have fixed my code and done all my stuffs. I have created my pipeline and my pipeline is running successfully. Now what I want to do is I want to push this code to my GitHub. Okay, so what I will do, I will just click on this git thing, right? And here you will be able to see each and every file that has been changed, because right now this is my very first commit. So all the files whatever has been created will be here. So let's say here I will pass my message as first message, not first commit. Okay, and I will try to commit and push. So for the very first time when I will try to do it, okay, I will get an issue, and this issue says that you have to authenticate, you have to tell me that okay, you are Vishal, right? Otherwise anyone can push the code here, right? So for that what I will have to do is I will have to come back here. I will have to go to my profile, my settings. I will scroll down to developer settings, personal access token, and I will click on this token classic. I will click on generate a new token and I will create a classic token. Now let's suppose I am creating that as Databricks token. Okay. Expiration date I can keep it for 7 days, and the access that I need to work on is the repository, and I will click on generate token. And now I will have to copy this token. I will come back here. I will click on this git credential. I will click on this add new git credential. I will go on to personal access token. I will have to first of all provide my email ID, git email ID. So this is my GitHub registered email ID, and now I will paste my token here and I will click on save, and it is updated successfully. I will click on save again. Okay, so now it has been created it has been updated successfully. But here if you look at currently also, you will not see the code. So I will have to come back here again. I can cross it, and let's suppose if I remove this space, right, I will come back here on my git, right, and I will do, let's suppose, pass a message as second commit. And now if I click on this commit and push, and if I come back here and refresh, and if I go to my code, so now you will be able to see the folder has now been added. The source control folder is here, and inside the source control folder if you go, so you can see each and everything that is present in your source control folder, right? Inside your ETL pipeline you can see everything that is present here, right? Now let's suppose I come back here, and in my ETL source control transformation, right, I create a new file as, let's say, test.py. I click on create. Okay, and now I will do what? Let's suppose print hello world. Okay, so you can think of this that okay, I have updated my pipeline, I have added a new functionality to my current pipeline, and now I have to now push this particular code to the GitHub. So how I will do it? I will come to here, git, right, let's say added new functionality. I can give the message, right, and I will again click on commit and push. Okay, so it has been successfully committed and pushed to main branch. And if I come here and I refresh this page, so you will see a test.py file has been added here. Now I am working in a collaborative environment. Means I am not the only developer working on this particular project or this particular pipeline. Okay. Let's say any new developer or any other developer has added some uh, other file, right? So let's say I say it as added by developer dot py. Okay. And here I print p should be small. I'm working in Python, right? Print uh, this file is added by my developer friend. Okay. Now I can commit the change. So you can see here. So this added by developer.py file is present in my GitHub. But here if I come and if I refresh this page, okay, so you will be able to see that this added by developer.py file is not present in my transformations folder. So to get that particular file, what I will have to do is I will click on this git, right? And if you will look at this top right button, if you closely look at this button, right? So it's saying us that you have to pull something, right? Means we have to now ingest something from the GitHub uh, to our working environment. Okay. So here, if I click on this pull, and it will ask us that okay, all the things will be cleared and everything. Okay, so it says successfully pulled changes. Okay, and now if I come here, so you will see now that the added by developer py file has been added here, and whatever code is present on GitHub, the very same code will be visible to me also. Okay, so this is what, and this is, I would say, a basic use of the version control. Here I can come to this bundle thing also, right? And if I just click on this bundle, okay, now it will basically add the things, right? Okay, could not generate see details. Okay, fine, I can click on this. Okay, and if I click on this deploy, right? So whatever changes, could not generate a bundle summary. Let me refresh it. Hmm. So new job, this. File does not exist. Okay. So who is asking you to create the bundle for this? Let me open configuration. I guess I will have to configure the configure root. That's fine. To add a new thing. It's already open. Fine. And here if you see, so source control.etl is present. Here it's saying it's source control.etl is not present. Okay, maybe to come back here, select, select, save. Here, try to refresh it. Control.host control etl not present. Not present. How it's not present? I can clearly see here it's present. Okay, no worries. So in the very next video, I will try to resolve all these errors, right? I hope you guys have understood uh, how you guys can take the advantage of Git and GitHub to basically get your code tracked, right? Each and every traceability of your code will be present. You can also work in a collaborative environment where you along with your fellow developer or fellow friends can work on this particular or any pipeline that you want to work on. Cool. So I hope you guys learned something new in this particular video. I know this particular video has been a kind of errors, a full of errors, right? And I would say for sure that a full of learning also, because fixing these errors will be obviously a kind of hectic task. But for sure, when we will fix that error, we will learn something new. And for sure, I will be fixing those errors and make sure that in the next video you guys get to know what was the issue of that particular error. Cool. So I will see you in the next video. Till then, keep learning and keep growing. Bye bye.